NRG Esports. Mirror is on the team. Welcome everyone officially on Energy this go around, and so that's going to be really fun to see. Maybe we'll get to see some Pharah from him.
Fingers crossed, but it looks like a little bit more of our favorite herbivores, the goats. No Maze either, which is pretty interesting. We did see May just in our last series. So XL2 again versus NRG. Whoever gets that early pick, it is possible even with goats, or more likely that early ultimate will have a major advantage in this very next fight. Stand 1 as it stands, 30% already to that Earth Shatter, while Akawa being forced away from the fight means that NRG are going to have better positioning on this point to re-engage.
Akawa is one of those second wind alumnus, so XL2 Academy may be looking for that second wind magic for themselves. NRG Esports, though, their HP bar seem to be doing a little bit better. Kevster getting that first kill. Smex will be DMAC, but without speedily, that Spire healing is going to be unavailable for XL2 as NRG Esports do take the first take.
Akawa is also known as one of those Reinhardts who can play more aggressively, so, you know, good on NRG to focusing them down very early on. As a Reinhardt, you don't have that much self-determination. It's largely dependent on what kind of resources and support your team is providing you. So him getting forced out of that fight early might not have been his fault, but what ended up happening is NRG not only have all the space in the world, but they have ultimates to show for it.
And so now that they have those ultimates, is how you use them, and XL2 coming in against those 5 ultimates, but we were unable to use the rally in time. Really didn't use the rally for XL2 Academy, so that's why you're going to find them sticking around in this fight, even with that 6v5 against NRG Esports. The XL2 Academy do have the advantage here. Speedily is getting taken low and will be taken down. NRG Esports are going to get those return kills. Self-destruct now in the backline for XL2 Academy. Finds nothing. NRG Esports will maintain control of this point, even though XL2 did get that first pick.
Really good reactions from NRG. You saw the patience, the discipline from Byram. Even though NRG were largely caught in the grab, that was Yaki trying to make the best of a bad situation as XL2 were grabbed themselves. He waits patiently, milks value from that trans, pops it only exactly when he needs to. So even when Akawa charges towards his team, they're not going to be doing too much damage.
And so the sound barrier is going to come through. The Earth Shatter is as well. Smex will be stunned, but that's going to be all the damage outside of the DMAC that NRG Esports takes. XL2 Academy have run out of options outside of this Graviton Surge, so if they want to win this fight, this is the time to do it. And right now, they are going to be accomplishing that task as Yaki and Akawa are going to go ahead and get those go-ahead kills, potentially grab this point. But NRG Esports did make it into the Magic over 80-85%. They're in one fight territory.
XL2 cannot give up a single other fight from this point on, but kudos to Yaki. Used his grab at the exact same time as Kevster, still managed to earn another one in the time it took to get to that point. NRG had no trans from Byram, so they simply eat that lost fight. But re-engaging here, Kevster could have dropped his own.
So the Graviton is out from NRG. The XL2 have the counter trans. Stand 1 is going to get pinned, but the moves are there. He's actually taken very low. The Transcendence is going to be used to counter. Now all of the damage coming from XL2. There isn't a grab just yet. Byron getting that first pick. Yaki needs to grab this grab if they're going to have any sort of shot of holding on to this point. But now that there's 2 less members for XL2, even with this grab, I don't see this working out for them. NRG Esports are going to maintain their advantage in this fight. All they have to do is clean it up and they win the round.
Yeah, Mirror popping off right here. 2 kills for himself, followed up by Kevster, and XL2 Academy only have 1 chance to touch here, potentially, but with Jur dying so late, it's going to be up to Kirby, who immediately gets stunned and demacked.
They knew exactly what Kirby was trying to do. NRG Esports, solid round from them. XL2 made it interesting there in the middle, but NRG righted the ship for themselves and find themselves up 1-0 going into our second round here on Oasis. What are you looking for XL to do differently this time around?
So Yaki has had extremely impressive grab generation rates, so maybe play a little bit more around your Zarya. Let your Reinhardt, you know, just hold back a little bit, keep himself in less risky situations so you can devote some more of that healing to making Yaki, you know, the laser beam of the solar system. Because right now, NRG have had some pretty good focus fire. Akawa has not been able to really run free as he had in the last season of Contenders on Second Wind. So XL2 Academy just need to focus down a little bit more.
All right, let's see if that focus will be found. Get it? NRG Esports now. They're feeling good, especially after that round win. Kirby going to have to use the boosters to get back onto the high ground, as some of the fight is happening on the low ground, some of it's happening on the high ground. Eventually, everything will happen in one place. Right now, both teams of the Zenyatta is looking for those long distance kills. That's the only reason, or only way that these long-distance kills do come about is those Zenyatas. Yaku, though, going to get that kill onto two Smeks, but a trade coming out from that mirror makes this a 5v5. The point hasn't been taken from either side just yet. The healing is there, more so from NRG this time around, as their support's getting a little higher on that, especially Transcendence ultimate. Fuchs lagging a little behind, but NRG Esports do find that first point take.
I feel like if you run a Reinhardt into this Gardens round, you're just tying your own shoelaces together, because a Winston is able to so easily exploit that high ground. There's so many boop opportunities as well. You can check this, ultimate generation. Stan1 already has that primal, and Akawa, not really able to do a ton for his team or for himself.
And so they're going to go ahead and use the rally to get on to the point, but NRG Esports are well equipped to defend their position here on the objective. As Kepster going to go ahead and launch that Graviton Surge, a really good maintenance for the rest of NRG as well, not investing another ultimate.
Exactly. NRG, they have 3. They would like to have all 6 to continue to hold this point. Oh no. May Hermes speed you on your way to respawn.
And so NRG Esports didn't use the ultimates, all the ultimates at their disposal smartly, only investing the Graviton from Kevster, but now they've got the Primal Rage, which is one of the best stalling tactics in any map type, but particularly on this round on this map.
This is actually a pretty good opener too, depending on whether or not XL2 want to try and push that high ground. Stan1 could pop Q and knock them all off, but XL2 recognize that danger. They're going to go for the ground, but take a ton of damage again on their engagement.
Yeah, without the sound barrier, at the without using it on a tempo, there's really no way to effectively come onto the objective without taking a ton of damage. And Hawk actually using the Transcendence, hoping that there is some Graviton Surge on the other side, and he's hoping correctly. The NRG Esports losing a member as well. Akawa asserting his dominance. He is that aggressive Reinhardt showing up right now. XL2, however, going to fall, take down one member, speedily going to be going down. So it's a 5v5, and NRG are going to have all 6 of their members a little bit sooner. Kepster's grab not going to be doing very much, but Stan1 is going to get that pick, and with a really good ally barrier coming from Kepster, Stan1 will be able to finish off that damage, and they're going to go ahead and win at that fight. XL2 are going to have to desperately stall to keep themselves in here.
Oh, but they just lost their Lucio. It's not looking very likely. Byram just with a little bit of a friendly wave. Really good play from Stand1 right there, primaling Haku, trying to knock him off the edge, because as good of an Earth Shatter as Akawa got, even if he managed to catch all of NRG, it would be a very difficult thing to sustain that momentum. Right, you're losing your Zenyatta, so you're not going to be having any of that harmony, and you're losing that discord as well, which is so crucial to quickly bursting down your target. So really good, selection from Stan1 to choose to try and isolate that Zenyatta out away from the fight.
And we kind of have a similar story from the last game. One team dominant here on Control. That 13% win percentage from XL2 definitely showing up there on Control. They're going to go ahead and fall. That's going to be about 11-10% after this game. And so if they find themselves in a Game 5, that's going to be tricky for them. NRG doing everything that they needed to go up 1-0 going into our second map. And now let's talk about what Hybrid is going to bring us with these teams. NRG Esports playing really well. What is kind of like the thing that's popped out at you that you've been most impressed by?
They just look very clean. They look like they have cool, calm, collected heads, right? Even if XL2 managed to take that point and flip it, they're not going to be freaking out, panic, ulting, right? Going in staggered. Many of the things that we see, even other Contenders teams fall victim to every once in a while, right? So don't give, even if you're not playing the perfect game, right? Don't give your opponents opportunities to pick you apart, right? Very often, I actually don't remember now which Zarya it was, but I believe it would be from NRG, who just finds the Brigitte randomly with some far out lobbed nade. Those are kind of those positioning things that may not seem big to you as you're coming back to fight on the point, but if you die, that's going to destroy your team's push. And we see it happen every now and then to supports. And so that's, kind of where we would hope to see XL2 kind of tighten the ship a little.
Yeah, speedily winning the race back to spawn as well. So, like, I'm not sure that's what his name means, right? Yeah. And so, when that Brig falls first, we've seen this pattern go over and over. We know that statistic. If the Zarya dies first, you only have a 7% win percentage, right? But when the Brig dies first, we've seen it even through last season when we were still playing GOATs. It's like, you need the whole team, right? While 7% is the most distinct number in terms of first picks, the other percentages aren't very high either, right? And so getting that Brig out of the way as well is going to cut a lot of that Inspire healing down, and you really need that for your tanks to really get in there and get to that Earth Shatter.
Yeah, there's she also has the only burst healing available in GOATs with that heal pack. So, Brigitte offers a lot of utility beyond just, standing around and shield bashing every once in a while, which is kind of how I play Brigitte. So any lost member of GOATs early on before the whole team is like, okay, we're all here. Everybody ready? Got that juice? Everybody went to the bathroom the last time?
1, 2, 3,
and go.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
And so I definitely see what you're talking about, right? We've described GOATs as kind of like a piece that you practice, right? You go back to it over and over. It's that Rachmaninoff 3. It's that Shostakovich, right?
Type 1.
Yeah,
exactly.
It's those super hard pieces of music that after you get to play it, you learn the intricacies, you get to put your own little style on it, and then it becomes, the hard part becomes making it consistent, less so about learning the actual piece of music. And so Eichenwald now is going to present a really awesome opportunity for Mirror to potentially be on that projectile hero. That Farah Mirror also has an amazing Zarya, but let's see which one we might see. It gives NRG an opportunity to flex some people on Sombra that they might not normally have flexed on, and so having that option is really, really nice.
Exactly, and especially on a map like Eichenwald, where that first point has been, a hunting ground for Forest since the bygone days. You can work around that tower in the very middle of the point, provides you quite a bit of safety. So the pharmacy is an option, but no, NRG gonna burst out of spawn with that GOATS composition. Same for XL2.
So XL2 gonna be attacking first. NRG really wanted to see what kind of tempo they can create on their first push. NRG Esports already using their cooldowns to their advantage. The ally and self barrier have already been used, and it's a big reason why you're already seeing them cede that space. Once that rest of the cooldown does go out, you're definitely going to see Stand 1 take a little bit more of an assertive approach as you're seeing Petster do just then, but the amp it up coming from XL2 Academy is going to try to get them into the back line and isolate certain members of NRG Esports, but that was not able to be accomplished by XL2. Akawa getting taken very low. Will they be able to confirm the kill? The ally barrier coming from XL2 does help Akawa stay alive, but unfortunately Speedily is going to ring true to his name and go back to spawn. That was actually a really long fight from both teams. NRG Esports do find themselves on top of it at the end.
Yeah, but look at Yaki's Grav charge. He again has been outpacing Kevster in terms of the Zarya ultimate, and so he's been doing really excellent work. XL2 Academy just have not been able to keep either Akawa or Speedily alive both at the same time. NRG really applying a ton of shield pressure to both of these players, and it's credit to them. They have now rebuffed XL2 Academy, but with almost 3 minutes left, there's a good chance. Oh, shut down.
Yeah, the Shatter gets shut down by the shield bash, so XL2 Academy are not going to have to deal with that for the time being, but they still have to deal with the grab, and they're dealing with it really, really well. NRG Esports is going to have to potentially invest in support here to stay online, but Fire not going to be using the Transcendence to save Stand 1 or Pooch, just going to use it late instead. So XL2 Academy have an open field now on this objective to take this point A. NRG Esports about to take 2 minutes off the clock, but that's an unfortunate trans from Byram. I think that's the thing that really sticks out there.
Yeah, certainly. I mean, he had to use it to counter Yaki's grab, who actually didn't open with that grab, something NRG might have been expecting. A really lucky shutdown, or we'll just give the credit and say a really high IQ shutdown of the Earth Shatter allows for, a pretty comfortable grab for Yaki here.
And so they're going to go ahead and defend really far up close. Self-destruct is out, but is not going to find anything. NRG Esports now has the sound barrier, and that's about it here. And that rally could give them some time to get to some other ultimates for the time being. Hockey, though, getting that kill from long distance is going to get a 64 for XL2 Academy now, and Poop's investing another sound barrier. This is the energy that we saw before Envy, right? These kinds of mistakes are unacceptable for a team that really wants to compete with the Envies of the world.
Exactly. A really unluckily timed sound barrier doesn't save the life of NRG's main tank, and Yaki, again, he's got a grab, he wants to use it, he wants to maintain that high charge here. XL2 Academy, I really like this, not letting that loss on control affect their mentality, camping that high ground here, forcing NRG to face them if you want this little piece of real estate.
And so NRG Esports are going to take the high ground for themselves, and now I'm really interested to see where the engagement's going to happen, because NRG Esports has to drop. XL2 aren't going to go up, so they have to drop down, and it could be a gravity tragedy indeed. The NRG Esports have enough ultimates to make it very prosperous occasion for this fight. But Stanley going to be going down before using the Earth Shatter. At least it didn't get canceled out this time around. XL2 now going to have a grab to potentially escort them all the way to this other point. They just have to use an ult to support this fight. So now that they're getting close to capturing the second point, they're going to be able to save it with that.
I really love watching Yaki just single-mindedly destroying the shields of NRG, punching Stand 1 into oblivion. And I mean, XL2 Academy, if they're just hunting for a little bit more damage, Akawa, you know, letting him drop the shield and run in hammer flying might be a bit too risky, but you can rely on Yaki. He has the grab once again, but NRG have 4 ults.
Off, so they're going to get that first kill. 65 now for XL2 Academy. NRG going to go ahead and invest everything that they've got. They're really trying to get that pick, and they do get 2 of them, so this is now in their hands. Stand 1 is going to come back with another Earth that are getting bailed out a couple times. Stand 1 having a hard time staying alive. XL2 do get pushed off before grabbing the second point, and they invested absolutely everything in it.
Yeah, a very strong commitment from both of these teams, in fact. NRG adapting quite well here. They themselves trying to focus down Stand 1, who will at least have an Earth Shatter to help his team continue to defend here, but some great adaptation across the aisle from both of these teams. However, it is literally and metaphorically an uphill climb now for XL2 to build that economy back up again after investing so many in that last fight.
Yeah, NRG looking to be ahead in that ultimate economy for the next minute at least. So XL2 really need to find something from this fight. Jared does get to the sound barrier. Probably will get to the Transcendence. It's the other stuff they really need to get to. It's that grab, bigger bang combo that is very effective, particularly here on this last portion of the green space. We're going to take it low, but Jets are going to go ahead and throw the grab. Sound barrier is going to be there to counter it, but sound barrier isn't Transcendent. Stand 1 is going to go ahead and get that kill to 6v4 now, but there is some isolation happening. XL2 not going to be able to take advantage of the small window of opportunity to get just a single pick. They are going to go ahead and just reset energy now with a minute left to defend.
Really unlucky. XL2, they would have hoped to bait that grab out, not invest anything themselves, and then disengage extremely quickly. But as it stands, they threw the sound barrier in there. And while Yaki will have the grab, NRG weren't put under enough pressure by XL2 to force their own defensive ultimates. So this grab from Yaki, even if it's the black hole of the lifetime, might still come up with 0 kills, as NRG are ready to face almost whatever XL2 brings their way.
Well, I feel like most grabs come out with 0 kills at this point in time. These teams are so good at covering these ultimates. Remember, it is that dance down there going to be saving. Stand 1, the self-destruct going to be going out, not going to find the 2 picks like last time. And now XL2 going to go ahead and throw theirs out. They're going to get 2 picks of their own. Stand 1 gets taken down. I did hear the shield dash go through, so XL2 Academy will be grabbing this second point. That was a little bit more even than the last fight, so that was their only opportunity to grab this point, and that they do. There's only a minute and 34 seconds left to get to the end of the map.
Good, very good stuff. XL2 Academy continuing to tighten the screws against NRG. Kepster will have a free grab once he gets that, but with the way that XL2 are pressuring them, they have to wait for that full 6-man regroup again, and this cart will likely make its way all the way to that second corner.
Corner after this fight, Kepster going to go ahead and use the grab. Akawa is isolated within it, but the support was almost all there for him. Just too much throughput damage coming from NRG. They're going to push XL2, who are smartly seeding this space. They do not want to give NRG any more of an opportunity to get to the ults because they don't have any themselves.
No, nobody is going to be poking out. This will not be Team USA 2017 World Cup again. I still remember that, Sinatra. NRG, though, they have to find value from Stand 1's Earth Shatter. If they're counting ultimates, they're going to know that XL2 Academy will not only have Trans and Sound Barrier, but grab as well. Every tool that they need. So NRG need to keep this proactive. Akawa very low.
And they're taking this fight super far out, so the Graviton Surge is going to be coming through. The Earth Shatter is as well. Stand 1 stunned, but there's going to be a big shatter coming the other way. XL2 Academy going to find more real estate with their shatter from Akawa. So NRG Esports, the good news for them is I guess they held so up close that they're going to have a little bit of time. The 2-3 seconds that it takes to get to the payload will be in their favor.
Exactly. Zoom Yada is possible for NRG here. A really wise move positioning from this team to try and push up, but XL2 Academy have 2 support ultimates to drag on this fight.
Kirby going to throw that self-destruct into the back line because the Graviton Surge is never going to make it. And now the Transcendence from XL2 Academy trying to keep them in this fight. NRG Esports going to be using their Transcendence second. That tends to find a little bit more value. Now the sound barrier is out for XL2. Earthshatter coming the other way. 3 members are down, and only 2 are going to go back to spawn, though. So XL2 is still technically in this thing, but it's getting worse and worse even as time goes on. And we see the light build, the kill feed. NRG Esports prevent XL2 from finishing Eigenwall.
Oh, Akawa with the hero shield, protecting his shattered team from that self-destruct, but alas, he couldn't do anything against the Brigitte and Zarya, just gobbling up the members of XL2. So that will be where the payload stops for our green team, but not bad at all, especially considering how, quickly they were wiped on control. There is absolutely life left yet in this XL2 team, and now it's up to NRG to mount as impressive of an offense.
It is amazing how different each team plays. Even Envy and Mayhem Academy and Fusion University, right? How they all play so differently on different maps, right? Fusion University on Control is very different than Fusion University on Assault, right? And so XL2 showing that their Control might be weak, but their hybrid right now is holding up strong. They would have really loved to finish the map, but NRG Esports has come back with a good defense just in time.
Yeah, XL2 Academy had the tools to drag out those fights, but they used their support ultimates so early that NRG could simply back off the little bit of space that they had left to wait for some of those overshields to die down before re-engaging with their own. So, some good back and forth, certainly some spicy banter, we might say, against between NRG and XL2, but now defense is where things might get a little bit tricky for our green team. NRG have certainly been trying to focus Akawa down, and it has been working quite well. It certainly did on Control. And XL2 Academy cannot allow an early pick to come through, because a pick here on point A is essentially a death sentence for your defense.
I mean, this rings true in those assault maps as well, right? The defensive spawns are so far away, it takes so long for them to come back that there's such a distinct advantage to having those numbers. So the Academy and NRG Esports are going to go ahead and meet on the objective proper, and look at Stand 1 go. He's going to be just hopping and moping around. He's going to stay alive. Mirror on the side. It is going to be isolated for a little bit, but they do save him in at the end. And so now it's NRG Esports asserting their dominance, even though Akawa going to get that kill. Mirror going to get the trade, so it's a 5v5. No Reinhardt on the other side. I think I take that pick a little bit more than the Lucio right now, because XL2 Academy, they're not going to have to deal with that Reinhardt shield for much longer, but NRG Esports will have a window of opportunity where the amped up Lucio isn't going to be there. This is exactly where that opportunity is, as Kevs are going to be throwing the grab right before going down. Haku's getting a nice little pick, and Haku can frag. It just needs to be very more consistent coming from XL2 Academy, who are pushing NRG Esports back.
That was the pick XL2 needed, and Haku gave it to them, right? And he finds yet another frag. Look at that, because if NRG, even down a member, if they had their Zarya alive at high charge, XL2 would have a very hard time staying alive in that grab. Haku needed to come up with a miracle, and he did that time around, and now he's going to have that trance to show for it. In fact, 5 ultimates nearly up for XL2. NRG might need to take, another dry push at this, because besides the Transcendence and Sound Barrier, Stand 1's Earthshatter the only thing they have.
So Akawa going to be the ally there to try to get some Earthshatter percentage. He's going to get there. Self-destruct is there, and Kirby going to get the self-destruct kill onto Stand 1, who was CC'd. So XL2 didn't need to invest a ton into it, but they still have 3 ultimates at their disposal.
This is very good stuff. I mean, it could all come crumbling down in overtime. We've seen it happen many a time in the past, but as it stands, XL2 doing a very good job of systematically isolating single members of NRG. Grab only gets one guy, doesn't matter. As long as we can kill him, we will rebuff this push. So now speedily 80% to yet another rally. NRG themselves still only have those 2 check marks.
Kevs lagging behind in that Graviton Surge right now. Smack's going to get close to that self-destruct, which can be comboed with the Earthshatter. Stand 1's going to get a really good one. XL2 Academy going to go ahead and open things up with that Earth Shatter. 2 members are on the ground, but Pook is going to use the sound barrier to keep all of NRG Esports alive. Stand1 is going to fall victim to that shield bash. Oh, Yaki gonna get taken down almost by that self-destruct. The sound barrier is there, but at this point in time, XL2 Academy are running out of ults to stay alive. The Transcendence is one of the last ones, and we do see a big shatter come through from Stand1 this time around, and NRG Esports do break through in their first actually like real opportunity since the beginning of the game to do just that.
NRG just battering down the fortress of XL2, drawing ult after ult, and it's just not enough for XL2 to stay standing. Such a well-timed sound barrier from Jer. Yaki was dead to rights, lying out there in the open, having been shattered, but he stays alive due to those overshields. But unfortunately, NRG, it's like those sad country songs where I lost my dog, then I lost my truck, then I lost my job, then I lost my wife. Just one after another. NRG using that ultimate bank to tear down XL2.
And so Stand1 going to round the corner, get the ally barrier, try to get to another Earth Shatter, almost halfway there, matching a Kawa. Yaki does have a Graviton Surge, but Byron does have that Transcendence, so the rally going to be going through. You see Byron Transcend here in just a second. Self-destruct is out, and 3 kills for Kirby. Really good stuff from XL2 when they're able to, like, set it up and everything is kind of like there for the taking. That's when XL2 does really well. It's when things break down. What happens after what you practiced?
Exactly. You always have to have a backup plan, you know, at least on paper. XL2 Academy, they do hold for now, but they've whittled themselves down to just the promise of Haku's trans. NRG themselves, while they threw in their own Transcendence, will have offensive opportunities with Kevster's grab and the bomb or the shatter combo.
So let's see how they're going to combo it out. We're really not going to see the grab until we see one of the other two come out. So there's the grab, and now the self-destruct will be next. Stand1 going to be holding on to the Earth Shatter for the time being. He did charge into the opposing Reinhardt, but no other casualties coming from XL2 until now. NRG Esports going to go ahead and clean this up. They're actually running out of time, so they want to make Street phase as fast as possible.
Exactly. You can press forward, see if you can catch a straggling member of XL2 Academy here who did throw that trans out. Maybe would have been a bit of an over-investment. You likely were going to lose that fight anyways, and now that means that when Kevster does get this grab, NRG can be confident that it won't be countered by a corresponding Transcendence. However, as it stands, this bridge phase is so dangerous for both of the teams. We've already seen Boop kills coming flying across the way. So Jer and Pooks both got to have that finger hovering over mouse too.
Stand1 feeling very safe directly behind the payload. Knows that any swirly Lucia's coming around. Graviton Surge now coming through. Haku was unable to get to that Transcendence, but it looks like Sound Barrier might have been enough. As XL3 Academy survived the first engage from NRG. Spike's going to take it very low. The armor pack has been invested into Spike, so it's not going to be available for anybody else. Let's see if they're going to be able to CC the Reinhardt. The answer is yes, and so Kirby's going to get 2 kills. NRG Esports now down to less than a minute remaining on their push. You know, we were poking fun a little bit up the control win-loss percentage for XL2 Academy, but it's pretty abysmal for NRG Esports here on Hybrid. It's, you know, hovering around 30%. This is the map that they have won in the past, but we're really seeing some deficiencies coming from NRG Esports this time around.
Yeah, I mean, to begin with, their ultimate economy has not been so hot, and when they do have the advantage against XL2 Academy, they don't seem to know how to just put their throat on their enemy and really force them to the ground. XL2 Academy holding right here. NRG not going to find a sneaky engage at all. These bomb combos from Yaki and Kirby and the charge through from Akawa have been so clean so far. NRG need a massive shatter, but it's only going to catch one.
So Akawa does get CC, but not for long. XL2 Academy are going to split up NRG Esports, who didn't really quite know how to get back onto the payload is what it looks like. And so they went one way, half the team goes the other, and now they're down a member. However, the cleanup hasn't happened yet, and with the boot kill on to the Akawa's Reinhardt, this is actually not over just yet. Don't count NRG Esports out of this. XL2 Academy still have not cleaned this up. Haku's going to go ahead and use the Transcendence. Kevster is going to have that grab. He's going to go ahead and use it. His Transcendence will deplete, will go away before the damage can actually find that value. XL2 Academy now going to function with less members, and a good environmental kill might have locked this up for XL2 Academy, as Jer is going to put Kevster down in the environment, and XL2 Academy are going to let this overtime lick go away. They're going to get this map win against NRG Esports going into halftime #1.
There's still a Zoom Yada coming in here, but not zoomy enough. XL2 Academy tie things up here against NRG. Some really crucial kills. That boop onto the Zarya, of course, certainly comes to mind, but the kill onto Byram as well. He was 2 seconds away from a trance. As it stood, it forced the sound barrier, and then everybody was kind of playing, you know, with one ultimate down. They didn't have the reassurance of the trance, and of course, then when you saw Byram come back in, a little bit too little, too late.
So XL2 tied this thing up 1-1. One thing about NRG that we did see in spades against Evie was, particularly on Junkertown when they forced the Symmetric strat for so long, is they can be a little hard-headed, right?
Yeah.
They decide one direction and that's how they go. And some teams I actually would wish that they do that more often, but in NRG's case, I think they go kind of the other way on that, right? They go past that line and they beat their heads against the same thing over and over again, and they're not really finding those results right now. On this map, they did find it on Control with that kind of same attitude.
Yeah, you know, sticking with the Winston on Gardens, but I mean, in this case, I guess I would just be a little bit hard-pressed to think of another composition that would be as reliable against Ghosts.
Well, I'm not
right?
talking about compositions, like in general. I'm just saying in general in terms of decision-making, the flanks, the way that they're approaching these fights are very similar every single time. And so they went a different way that last time, split their team up. Right, and there's
somebody
no way
had to be on the cart.
Yeah,
right?
there's no way that they were going to win that based on where they were just coming in from. Right, they didn't have ultimates or anything, and so we're very, very close to halftime. So if you were to pick, you know, the goodness that we saw from NRG, we did not really quite see there on Hybrid. What was the biggest difference for you before we go into halftime?
They just weren't really getting as much value from those ultimates as they were on Control, right? On Control, XL2, it didn't seem like they were really keeping track of those ults very well. And even on their own attacking phase, there were moments where they could have pressed that advantage a little bit more. Remember that very last fight at Point C where they had both support ultimates? Nothing really came of it. But as it stands, NRG, when they had the advantage, they didn't push it. And then when they didn't have the advantage, that's when you start to see things like, well, we only have one shatter. We're just going to go for it, man. And then Specs is like, is anybody on the cart? Nah, we got to go over to the cart, too. And then you see that split.
And so we're going to go into halftime 1-1, tied between these two teams. Let's see what's going to happen after the break.